Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be my coming out story. So I've wanted to do this forever. Like, I started this channel like 2 years ago, and I've always been just nervous about it, I guess. I don't know why. I've been out for like 12 years, so I don't know why, but yeah. Happy National Coming Out Day, October 11th. This is our day, y'all. So that goes out to everyone who is out, everyone who is struggling to come out. Your day will come. There's no rush, but just know that you should just love yourself, be happy, be proud, and hopefully you have at least one friend or one close family member that you can talk to or come out to and just be your true self with. So I'll start off by saying that, I do believe that people are born gay or straight, bi, whatever, because it just doesn't make sense that it's always straight people who want to say it, or religious people want to say, like, nobody's born gay, but then why is it that straight people are just born straight? Like, I don't get that. Yeah. And then in regards to, let's say, like, labeling myself, I usually don't like to label myself. I just think labels are stupid, and it's always other people who want to label you. So if I had to label myself, I would label myself as a lesbian, because I'm only romantically attracted to women, only date women, I love women. And yeah, if other people had to label me, they would say that I'm bisexual, just because I've had sexual relationships with men before, like I have a child, all that stuff. But I've never been romantically interested in a guy, or like, had feelings like that or anything since I was like 14. So yeah, I'm definitely wouldn't say I'm bisexual. Okay, so here goes. It's a pretty, like, I'm just gonna go from the beginning of, like, first crushes and all that kind of stuff, and just like what was going through my head at the time and stuff like that. So back when I was like 7 is the first time that I could ever remember like having a crush on anybody. I feel like that's usually when you start to notice, like, not like, oh, I'm in love with this person. So I guess 7 is like when you start to really like notice who you're attracted to. Not attracted in the way of like, I want this person, but attracted in the sense of just like, I like this person, or like I want to be around this person, or whatever, right? So I just remember that like there was this girl that was the same age as me, and like we were really good friends, and I just know that like I always wanted to be around her. And of course at the time I never thought about it in that way, but like as I grew up and started to have other crushes and stuff, I realized that I did like her back then. So between 7 and like 12, like I didn't really like, she was the only like the first crush that I ever had, and then that was just it. Like, like little girls always crush on their dad, I think, like, I don't know, or maybe that's just on TV, but I always see on TV like little girls are just like, can I marry you, dad? Can you be my prince? Like, you know what I mean? So it's not a crush, but yeah. So then when I was 12, I remember like I had a best friend, Natasha, and I had a crush on her, and I did like tell her about it or whatever, because of course when you're like 11, 12, 13 in elementary school, starting to get your period, starting to notice people that you're attracted to and stuff. So I knew that I liked her. I wanted to be around her all the time. I did tell her, but she wasn't like into me like that, but we stayed friends. It didn't ruin anything, so I was really lucky with that. And then when I was 13, I used to go to my dad's house a lot, and there was this girl, Sarah, and like, oh my gosh, like I got over Natasha pretty quickly because like it wasn't reciprocated. So obviously I didn't want our friendship to be ruined. Yeah, Sarah and I hung out so much. Like every weekend that I went to my dad's house, I hung out with Sarah. And when I wasn't there, we were emailing each other, because that's how old I am. We would email, and I guess maybe MSN or ICQ. Do you guys remember that? So we used to message each other a lot and stuff. And then so Sarah ended up being my first kiss. And like when I had that first kiss with her, like I was just like, whoa, like that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. Sounds so stupid and like TV show, but like no, that was like, I was just like, wow, like the butterflies, the feelings I got, like I never felt like that with anybody. I also never had a kiss with a boy before that, but I don't know, inside I just knew that like even if I did kiss a boy, I wasn't gonna feel the same way. And I was right. When I was 14, I had my first kiss with a guy and I didn't feel the same way, but I still went along with like being a girlfriend, boyfriend, because like that's what you're supposed to do, right? So I didn't really tell anybody about Sarah. Like we just talked and stuff, and like kissing was as far as it went. Like I was 13, like, you know what I mean? And then like, because, you know, like I have like a Jamaican family, and all I kept thinking about was just like, you know, like I didn't even really know what gay meant. Like I didn't know, like obviously I heard things like, oh, that man funny, oh, him a batty man, and like stuff like that, right? So obviously I knew what that meant, but I didn't know, like nobody really talked about girls in that way. Like nobody said a batty gal or anything like that. So I didn't know that girls were even like that as well, if that makes sense. But then of course in the back of my mind, I always thought like same-sex period was just not okay. And Jamaicans, yeah, they're just intense about that. So basically just kept it to myself and everything, and I just knew that I liked girls. And then, you know, you start like seeing things on TV, and like then you start to like, you know, start to understand yourself better and start to feel like, okay, maybe it's not such a bad thing. So then when I was 14, I did have a boyfriend. Like I was just going through the motions because Sarah, like, I don't know what happened with her, whatever, she disappeared somewhere, or my dad moved from the area. Like I don't remember what happened, but we did reconnect years later. But yeah, that was fun. But yeah, so then like, yeah, when I was 14, like this day I will always remember. I was at the hairdresser, and I had been getting my hair permed, and then my phone was just ringing off the hook. It was my uncle, my grandma, my aunt, like everybody was calling me. And then I finally answered the phone. So it turned out, because I did finally tell a cousin, and it turned out that that cousin told another cousin, who then told my uncle, who told my aunt, who told my grandma, who told the whole damn family. So they were just calling me down, asking me if I'm gay and stuff. And I said no, because I was still 14 and like just scared. Like I didn't know what was gonna happen if I told the truth, you know what I mean? Plus, it's like you're like putting this label on me. You're putting my life choices, or whatever they want to say, right? You're putting this label onto me. I haven't even been able to figure it out myself. I told one person, you know what I mean? So I said no, and then my mom comes and picks me up, and then she's like, oh, like Uncle Chris was calling me or whatever, like they said this, like is it true? And I said no, because like, yeah, why? I wasn't ready. I was only comfortable telling my cousin, and that's why I only told one person. So she had no right to frickin' do that. And then it turned out years later, she ended up being gay too, and she ended up dating like one of my best friends. So it's just like, what the hell? Why did you bait me out when you were probably feeling these gay feelings too? Maybe she just wanted to see what the family would say, so that if she came out one day, it would be off of her. I don't know. So after that, I kind of became a slut with guys. Like I kind of just like, I just didn't want anybody to be suspicious about me liking girls or anything like that. But then also like back then, like I was really the only person that I knew that liked girls, me and Sarah, and like where was she, you know what I mean? But then as I started growing up more, like 16, 17, I started to like, I really loved Degrassi. I started seeing like gay people on Degrassi, and then it just made me feel more comfortable, because I was like, I know that I am like this. So like, why am I hiding it? So I started telling my friends, and I was very blessed and lucky to have friends that didn't judge me or anything, and friends that didn't just automatically think that, oh, you like girls, you must like me, you know? Like I still had sleepovers with my friends, still hung out really close, like still changed in front of each other, like nobody was weird. So I was actually very lucky to have that. Then comes my first girlfriend. I think I was about 18, and I was in high school because I did a victory lap. No big deal, okay? I did a victory lap. And so at that point I was out. You know, and something I did really like though about like being out and stuff in high school, I did end up like dating or talking to or messing around with a lot of straight girls, but I kind of liked it. Like it made me feel like a G, you know what I mean? And I didn't mind like keeping it a secret because I wasn't trying to wife anybody. We weren't trying to like be serious. Like people just wanted to experiment and I was down for it, like whatever. So yeah, I ended up having my first girlfriend when I was like 18. I was like head over heels for her, but like everything was in the closet because she wasn't out. And it was just very like, it kind of sucked, but then I was just so in love that like I was just putting up with it or whatever. But she was basically straight. Like there was no coming out for her to this day. Like she looks at girls, but like does she like want to date them? Like I don't know. She's just very weird about it. But yeah, so I mean that was a really good time in my life. I was living with my grandma at this point. So now is where I came out to my grandma. So first of all, at 18, like I didn't really tell her. But then, you know, in high school, how like, well, back then especially, we didn't have cell phones like that. Or we had like flip phones. Like it was very hard to hide them from your teacher. So we would write notes to each other. So I had this friend, Seja, who we used to write notes. Like she used to tell me about like whatever guy she's talking to or whatever drama was happening. And I used to tell her about my straight girlfriend because she knew about it. Even though my girlfriend at the time did not know that Seja knew, but Seja knew. And like I would just talk to her about that and like just any gay stuff that was going on in my head. And she kept all these notes. And then one day her Christian ass mom found them and she ended up calling my grandma and telling my grandma that I was corrupting her daughter. And I was like, how could I be corrupting her? If you read the notes, like you could see that your daughter is into guys. She has a boyfriend. She's having sex with men. She's not gay. So how am I corrupting her because I'm telling my best friend something important that I'm going through? Like, you know what I mean? So then my grandma comes to me and she's like, Rochelle, you're bisexual. And of course I still denied it at that time because I don't know, I just didn't feel like I had to tell, because at this point I did know, but my grandma was just Jamaican. She's so religious. She did not agree with it. So I was just like, why do I have to tell her? You know what I mean? So I denied it. And then a couple years later, I had another relationship with a girl. And again, I was head over heels for this person. But it was a horrible relationship after a while. But what made me be so head over heels was because she was older than me, like probably 3 years or so. She was out, like had a bunch of gay friends. I met her through one of my gay friends. And then it was like, I was just like introduced to this whole world that I never really knew existed. You know what I mean? So it just felt so good. And I felt like I could be myself. And when we went to her house, I could just be myself. We could sit on the couch, we could cuddle, like everything was just so amazing, you know? And so she used to come to my grandma's house all the time. But I have friends, right? Like your friends come over. But then I really think that my grandma would listen to our conversations on the phone, because one day out of nowhere she just randomly asked me if I was gay. And then finally this time I told her that I was bisexual, because I like messed around with guys, right? So I just use that as like a crutch kind of thing to say that like, well, yeah, I talk to guys too, like, you know what I mean? Because I just didn't know what her reaction would have been. And so, yeah, she didn't approve, and then she no longer let the girl come over, because I guess now that she knows she's gay, it's like a big sin to have her in her house, even though she's been coming over for months. So that was really weird. So shortly after that, I didn't live with my grandma anymore. Yeah, she just wasn't happy about my lifestyle choices, as they like to call it. So I went to live with the girl. Yeah, so I didn't live with my grandma anymore. And today, my grandma, how does she feel about it? Like, I would say that she's still not okay with it. Or, well, that's how she acts towards me, because I do have a cousin who is also gay, and like she was gay like you knew since she was a toddler. Like, she did not want to wear underwear, like panties. She wanted to wear boxers. Like, she was gay from the beginning, you know? So I don't know if it's a thing where like, because I like am with guys, or I used to be with guys or whatever, that my grandma is like has something more towards me. Like, I don't know. Because even up until like a few years ago, I had a girlfriend. We went to my grandma's house. Like, I still bring my girlfriends around her regardless of like how she feels or whatever, because I want to be myself. And like, if my cousin can bring her boyfriend over, then why can't I bring my girlfriend, right? So I brought a girlfriend over. I was just sitting on the couch, or my girlfriend was sitting down and I was lying down. I put my feet on my girlfriend, and then my grandma was like, "Remember we're there. Remember we're there." I was like, "Grandma, it's my feet. Like, my feet are just on her lap." And like, she just said it like, "Remember where you're there." I'm like, okay, like what the heck? So I sat up. But it's just like, why do you have to be like that towards me? Like, if I show any type of affection towards my girlfriend, does that make you gay? Like, I just didn't get it, right? But then with my cousin, like, she would ask her like, when is her and her girlfriend gonna get married? Or when, or do they plan on having kids, or whatever the heck it is, right? So it's just really strange. So our relationship is like kind of weird right now. Obviously I love her and everything, but yeah. And she acts like I act weird because, like, for no reason, but she's never like talked to me about how she treats me compared to how she treats my cousin. So whatever. Anyways, this is not a story about my strained relationship with my grandma. This is my happy coming out story. So, yeah. So then after I moved out with that girl, then I finally told my mom, and I told her over the phone because I was just like nervous, like to tell her in person. So I just called her and I was like, "Hey mom, like I'm gay." And then she just said she knew. Your mom just knows everything. No matter how much you try to keep secrets, they just know. So came out to her, she said she knew, and she didn't agree with it. And it's just so like annoying to me and weird. Like, why do people feel the need to tell you that they don't agree with it? The hell do I care? What is that gonna do for me? I'm not gonna stop being gay because you don't agree with my lifestyle choices. You know what I mean? But she was very weird at first. Like, she didn't used to let my siblings come to my house if the girl was gonna be home, or she wouldn't let me like pick up my siblings or whatever if she was gonna be there. But then over time, like now today, like my mom is like literally my best friend. I call her like 5 to 15 times a day. Like, we talk. I can talk to her about anything, any relationship advice, venting about a girl, anything like that. So I mean, you know, I get it too. Like, gayness wasn't really accepted, even though it's been around forever. Obviously, Greek days, Bible days, like every days, like people have been gay. But especially like Caribbean people, they just have such a stigma towards it. So I do completely get how she felt at the time. But yeah, as long as today she agrees with it, well, agrees, whatever. But today she loves me. She never has anything bad to say about it. She meets my girlfriends willingly. Like, you know, my mom is my best friend. So if we had to go through a little rough patch of her coming to terms with it, like whatever, but at least she never kicked me out. Like, she always let me stay at her house. I mean, she's kicked me out before, but not because I was gay. So, you know, obviously I always appreciate her. If I ever wanted to go to my girlfriend's house, she would watch my son sometimes. So, you know what I mean? I don't fault her for that. Okay, and then my dad. So my dad and I just have a weird rocky relationship. Like, now we talk every once in a while. I kind of hate him, but whatever. But when I told him, he slapped me in the face. And I don't know how he feels about it to this day. Like, he's met a couple of my girlfriends before. He's even tried to fuck one of them before. But, yeah. I don't know how he feels about it now. Nor do I care. Because guys are just so weird. Like, he used to talk to me about girls and stuff. Like, we were really, like, good friends, basically, growing up. Like, you know, when I was, like, a teenager and, like, young adult or whatever. And he would just, like, tell me things about, like, girls that he talked to or whatever like that. But then as soon as I was like, hey, I actually like the same thing you do, he just didn't agree with it. So, yeah, I don't know how he feels to this day. Don't really care. And then my grandma on my mom's side. So the first grandma I talked about was his mom. And then my grandma on my mom's side, when I told her, she just like, okay, like, why are you telling me? And like to this day, like if I have a girlfriend, she always asks like how's she doing and stuff. So, you know, I can say that, you know, I don't have such a bad coming out story like some people do. Like, yeah, maybe it may have been rough with my dad, and actually maybe rough with all of them. They all really didn't agree with it in the beginning or whatever. Even when I got pregnant, like my uncle asked if I was still gay. Like, you know, you're always gonna get those questions. But who cares? Like, as long as you're comfortable with yourself, you don't have any doubts, you know that what you're doing is because you are who you are, it doesn't matter. And I wouldn't try to force anybody to come out. Like, you know, I have a girlfriend right now who I love. We're just about to hit our 1 year anniversary and she's not out. But like I've met her family, like I'm always at her house and stuff. And she is out to like some people in her family. And, you know, in the beginning, because I always used to say, like, I don't know if I could date someone who's not out just because of the type of person I am. I want you to flaunt me on your social media. I want to flaunt you on mine, you know? And like before, when my page was blocked or private, I could post her. But now that my page is open, I can't post her and she doesn't post me. But of course, I'm very happy that like her cousin and a couple of her aunts know about us and support our relationship and stuff. And I just feel like I don't care who knows or who doesn't know, and you know what I mean, because her coming out doesn't mean that our relationship is going to get better, and her being in the closet doesn't mean our relationship is bad. We love each other and she shows me that all the time. So to all of you guys out there who are out and proud, like, yes, like, you know, be your true self. I'm so happy that you can be. To the people who are not out, man, there is no rush. As long as you can be yourself without having to come out, like, you know what I mean? Like, date your same sex, like, date who you want to date. Get out there, like, really express yourself, like, be who you are. There's no rush, you know? One day you'll feel comfortable enough and it'll just come out. You know what I mean? So happy National Coming Out Day, everybody. We're here, we're queer, get used to it. Like, I'm so happy that I can be out. I'm so happy that I have the people that I have in my life that love me and accept me for who I am. And one day, to you closet folk, one day you'll have that too. Alright, so you know the drill. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about me. More videos to come. Peace.